So if you're watching this video, you probably already know all about Draco. It's been a while. And if you're looking to build your Draco, then this might be helpful. I have had two Dracos. My first one, I got it was already built. I bought it used off of somebody. This one I also bought used, but it was unbuilt in the box. The first Draco, when I sold it, it did fly, but it did have some bumps and scrapes on it. I accidentally hit the reverse button instead of flaps up, and if you do that, Draco will fly into the ground. The harder you hit the throttle, it does not back up in the sky. The nose drops and it comes down very quickly, and that was what happened with my Draco. I will show you the picture here. Alright, I'm gonna put this away because a lot of that isn't correct anymore, so you should download the new instructions for it and go from there. So here's a few tools that you're going to need or going to make your job a lot easier. A glue of some kind. I like to use foam to foam. It's foam safe. A nice sharp knife, needle nose, pliers, vice grips, and these kind of pliers here are handy for putting the nut on the prop, or if you have a socket for that. I got a couple sizes of Phillips screwdrivers. This one here is a number 1, and then this one here, I'm not sure what number it is, it's a little smaller. And this one here is a number 5 socket. This little tiny one is a 5.5 millimeter socket. And then a caliper for your center of gravity, and then some paper towel to wipe up any glue problems you might run across. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take off those two little, that little nut there on both sides, and there'll be 3 washers. We're going to push 2 washers back to here, and the last washer, then we'll put the tire on, and then we'll put on the small washer. So this is the wrench that we'll be using here. It's 5.5 millimeter, and just taking off this here. The first washer we'll take off, and then the other 2 washers we're going to leave on. A little bit of gunk in there, some foam or whatever that is. Let's take that off. Push those all the way back. Slide on our wheel. Put on the small washer. The nut, and then we'll snug that up. Now I see the tire's starting to grip a little bit, so I'm just going to turn off a quarter to half a turn until I get that nice free rolling. Perfect. Then the same thing on the other side. So now we got both of our wheels on, and we're going to mount this to the bottom of Draco. So we have these 2 small screws that go with these 2 pieces. We have these really small screws, bigger screws, and then these large screws right here are what we're going to use to attach our landing gear. So I'll put that right there like that. Definitely should have an airplane stand. I do not. That will be one of my next purchases. And just a little bit of moving things around here. There we go, 1 screw there. Just going to put these all in. And once I get them in place, I can put a screwdriver to work. There we go. There's our landing gear. Perfect. So now that we have our landing gear put on, we're going to grab this little piece right here. It's got sticky tape on the back. Just peel off those two pieces and then it will stick right there. When you're finished, it's going to look just like that, and this section here will be left open. Now we're going to flip Draco around and we're going to be working on the tail wheel. The next piece we're going to need is our tail gear, and so the blue shock is going to go like that, and then the other section will go just right there. We're going to need a number 5 millimeter socket to get those off. Pull the pins out, slide them in there, and then put everything back again. So I'm just going to put my number 5 socket right there, put the nut inside there, and then turn it out with the Phillips screwdriver. This one might be a little bit big. Well, we can make it work. That one there. And then off the shock, the smaller one. Same thing, number 5. And a Phillips screwdriver. Those two separate. I'm going to put the one for with the shock is going to go on first. Just like that. A nut on the other side. Maybe a smaller screwdriver here. There we go. Good and snug. Now, same thing with this one. Both of the metal plates from this piece go on the outside. Put the screw all the way through. Nut on the other side. Phillips screwdriver. And a 5 millimeter socket. Snug that right up. There we go. That bad boy is ready to go. So the next thing we're going to do is mount these two springs right here on this side and right here on this side. So I'll put this spring in here, holding that still. Easier said than done. So, I'll grab this one, a little twist, push it down in. Again, easier than it looks. There you go, that's that one on that side. And then the same thing on the other side. I'm putting these in the outside holes. Whether or not it matters, I don't know. Okay, so you just pull the spring towards the control horn a little bit, and then that helps a lot. All right. Got those springs attached. Cool. Next, we're going to put on the little red pants. These two right here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this here very good, but this little screw is one of two that were in the same package as the wheel pants. So these are going to go in here like so, with the right and the left. That one goes like that. And then the other one on the other side. There's a definite right and left. They fit well. So if you struggle with it, maybe you got two of one side. There we go. Perfect. On to the next step. All right, so this piece right here, it's going to slide into here. So you see, this is almost like a little rail. And so that's going to slide right into, where are we here? Finger, there we go. It's going to slide right into this rail. And then once we get that slid into there properly, then we have these come down. And they're going to hook on to those ball joints right there. You just push them on and they will snap into place. And this linkage over here, we're not going to hook it up, this one, over to this little ball joint right away, because if the servo's in the wrong place, then it's going to be messed up. So we'll wait till we power it up first, and then we'll hook that up. All right, so we take the tail section, slide it in there. There's a little release here to make it easy to get it undone if you ever got to put it in a vehicle. Oops, got to pull that out of the way. There you go, it snaps in. Then this here, I'm just going to push down on it. You got to push pretty firm to get it to snap into place. And then same thing on the other side, pretty firm. That one didn't click, but the first one did. Just going to make sure it's on there. Yeah, good to go. All right, again, this here is our linkage for our elevator. We're not going to worry about that right at the moment. And now we're on to the next step. So now we're going to mount the steps. That's these two pieces right here. We'll be using these are small screws. Then we have these two larger screws, and this single screw over in the bag by itself. We'll be using these two screws right here. So you just want to take these here. There's a little hole right there. It lines up with that one there just above the Garmin. When you slide this in, and my lighting here will probably get messed up, so if you put it on an angle like that too much, then when you get it in, it won't be nice and flush. So you want to pull it back out, make sure you go straight down when you wiggle it a little bit back and forth, and then you get a nice flat finish like that there. Alright, do that on both sides and put your screws in, and we're done that step. You have to drop that screw for some reason several times before it will go in. And now the other side. I tried the little screws the first time because I thought those were the right ones, but they were too loose. They just slid in and out. So went with the bigger ones. There, that's the steps. So now the next step we're going to be doing is these three antennas, the one with a little bit of a bend in it, and your foam to foam glue or whatever glue you choose. Now you can look right there on the box, and you can see on the bottom of the plane that bent antenna. And so that will be installed, if you wish, on this plane right there. So if you've never used foam to foam before, it's kind of like contact cement. You want to put a little bit on the piece that you're working with, and then you're also going to put some on the piece that you want it to stick to. Once you do that, then you're just going to kind of slide it in and out a couple of times so you have a good fit. And then you're going to put this piece to the side, let it tack up for about a minute or two, and then take it and just slide it back into the place, and away you go. A couple other quick points while I let that set that I remembered about foam to foam is that when you first open it, don't squeeze. So lots of times it'll just be coming out on its own, and there's going to be little stringies when you put it. It's quite sticky, so you'll get a little string of glue following you everywhere. So just have a piece of paper towel that you can wipe those strings away, so you don't get them on your wife's carpet. Alright, so we've let it sit for about a minute and a half. I'm just going to pick this piece up now. I'll put it right into that spot. See, it's pretty tacky. Just squish her in there. Perfect. If you've accidentally let it sit too long, just put a little bit more foam to foam on it, and it should go right in. Alright, so now we've got the straight antenna. We're going to take the straight one, and we're going to put it right on that spot right there. Same process as before. Let it get on both surfaces, let it get sticky, wait a couple minutes, and then you're ready to go. So I'm just going to show this up close, the next piece that we'll be installing, these little tiny things here. And that piece right there, that's a little bit wider, is just going to get, not CA, well, if you want CA, up to you. I'm just doing foam to foam for everything, and then put it right into that spot there. If we go back to our parts, now we're going to take these two here. They're both the same, and these two little tiny screws, we only got these three left. And we're going to, if we look back at our wing here, this is just going to slide on like that, and screw one screw to put it on. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to install these a little bit later in the video. We're going to flip the wing over. Just beware of these here that you don't ruin them or knock them loose. Just lightly set that down like that. And now these little pieces here, whatever you want to call them, foil I guess, we're going to be gluing them with some foam to foam. Each one of these 5 slots is going to go into these little spots right here. Here, and the other 5, or the 5 total. You know what I mean. And just to make sure you got the right one on the right side, pointed the right direction, make sure that your outside wing, the light right here, is close to your Horizon Hobby logo. And it's also a thicker edge facing the front of the wing and the narrow edge to the back of the wing. Now we'll just do our foam to foam solution again and get those put on. So there we go. We have our glue on both sides of the 2 pieces that we're going to work on. Now we're just letting them sit for a couple of minutes, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then we'll stick them together. How long should you leave it? 1 minute, 2 minutes, depends on how much heat in the areas you're working on a hot day. It might be less time on a cooler day in your basement. Maybe it's going to be a little more time. As long as they hold together when you stick them, it's going to be good. I've used foam to foam wrong for a long time, and basically it still worked. It might take a little longer for it to set up overnight even, but I used to just put it on one side or both sides and stick it together and have an elastic band or something to tie it together, and away you go. So foam to foam is great stuff. I really like it, and when you use it properly, it even works better. So just a little word to the wise. I didn't let this one tack up long enough. And you can see how they're kind of pulling out a little bit. So I'm going to have to make sure I have some weight on there so those don't pull out. You can just see on this one here, I need to push it back down and get it to stick in there. So there we are. We don't have a whole lot of pieces left. We're going to take this piece right here and our 2 wing halves. The one wing half has this right here, so we will use our foam to foam glue again and glue that piece in there. So now I'm going to install these 2 wires in the wing. We'll have to remember that on this wing we have that antenna now, so we'll have to be very careful. You want it to point backwards and to the aileron and just push it in. There you go. And then do the same thing on the other side, being very careful with that antenna. So this is our aileron surface right here. So we're going to put it in and make sure that it's pointed backwards to the aileron. Just like that. All right, now we're getting to the fun part. Our carbon fiber rod right here. We're going to put that inside, and then we're going to install our 2 wing halves. You can see that little piece of wood and the wings. It's not supposed to be there. You can take these little, whatever you want to call those things out, and basically to get them in, you push them in like that, straight down, and then you give this a 1/4 of a turn like that. To get it out, same thing. Turn it like this, and a little shake, and it comes out. Sometimes they're a little stubborn, takes a little bit of wear and work to get them, but they do come in and out relatively easy. This one, on the other hand, if you're struggling with, so am I don't know why. Right now I've been messing with that for a couple of minutes and I just cannot get it to come out for nothing. Pliers is definitely easier because there's not a lot to grab on there. I finally got it. Basically it goes in really easy. Just push in like that. With that little bit there where I just pushed in, quite a bit of friction. Turn it there, no problem here. With just my fingers, I can't get it out there. I need to definitely use a pair of pliers. That one there is really extra snug. I can't even get it to come out with one hand right now because I need to push down on the wing. And yeah, can't do that with one hand. So let me know if yours is the same in the comments. What I've found here is on the back side of the wing, they go in and out really easy. And you just give them a little shake and they pop right in and out. The front side of both of the wings, it's definitely a tighter fit and a little more difficult to get in and out. Same with this one here. The back, it just slides in perfectly in and out, no problem. The front, a little bit more pressure there. It's kind of a perfect fit. So maybe with time it'll wear in a little bit. Just a little bit of a struggle at the start though. Install the carbon fiber rod. Push it in as far as it goes. Then just slide the wing over and push firmly. Make sure everything sets really nice and tight. As you can see, it fits right up against it. As you can see here, your fit is perfectly together. So now we have the 4 of these, 2 on each side to install up on the bottom side of the wing. The back ones for me, they tend to go in a little easier, sideways like that, and push them up and in, and then just give them a quarter turn like that. And just do all 4 of those, and we're good to go. See if I can get this front one in here, a little more difficult. Like that, and a quarter turn, and you're good to go. Same thing on the other side. All right, piece by piece, we're getting closer. This little cover here, if you want to put it on, you can, just to have a look. It goes on the back right there, just magnet, and just sticks in, boom, like that. We're gonna need that off though, because we need to get in there for our receiver. So these Velcro strips, that's for our battery, our bind plug. This screw, we can take that out now. Now we're gonna put on the prop, and we'll need the prop, the spinner, and that final little screw that was in that little bag there. And we can put those on. Something I just thought I would mention briefly is, if you like the Draco prop for display in your home as well as when you're flying, that's great. If you bust the prop, this is the one that you get, and so it's not going to have those 4 little stickers on it. Not a big deal, but if that's something that you want, you might want to consider getting a secondary prop for flying and then using this prop for your display prop. Just take this nut off, and then the washer that's on with it. Put our prop on, stickers out to the front, black to the back. Beautiful. Then put your washer back on, the nut. You're gonna want to tighten that down. You can use a socket if you want to. I'm just gonna use a big pair of pliers. There we go. And then put our spinner on. the spinner moves back and forth a little tiny bit. So what I would do is just try and get it in between so it's not touching the prop. And you're going to need a Phillips screwdriver for this. Hold the prop still while you tighten down your Phillips screw. And there you go. So now that we're at this point, we can hook up our linkage on the back for our elevator. That's just that little brass piece there. And the plastic, we're going to snap it over top and put that into place. There, so that's the part that we want. That little red piece is just going to snap over top of the brass. Might need a pair of needle nose to get it. How you set up your radio is very dependent on what you like. I'm going to just tell you how I've set mine up and why a little bit. So obviously the main controls are the same as everybody. Your throttle and your rudder, elevator, and your ailerons. Where I have a few things that you might have different is here. This is my safe and this is my dual rates. 100% is right here and safe is up. The reason I have it like that is if I'm ever flying and I do get into trouble, all I do is pinch these together.
Safe mode, high rates.
And I'm automatically in safe mode. It's very easy for me to get into safe mode without thinking about it. When I crashed the first Draco, my reverse switch was right here, and now I've got my reverse over here. This switch does nothing, so it's kind of by itself right there. And just to help me not get into trouble by throwing it into reverse by accident when I mean to shut my flaps off. And then my flaps are here.
Landing flaps, takeoff flaps, flaps up.
And that's just personally how I like to set mine up, and it works well for me, and hopefully it'll stop me from crashing any more planes. This is round 2, Draco 2. Hopefully it goes better than Draco 1. Draco 1 I bought used and didn't have to build it. This one I had to build it. I wasn't going to put a lot of the little odds and ends on it, but I ended up putting them all on just because, one, they're kind of cool, and two, when you put them all on, you kind of know where they are and what to watch out for. Like the little wires there, those, the steps. When I'm working on the landing gear, the little antenna. When I was working on the landing gear, I ended up breaking the steps off because I didn't realize that they were going to be touching the ground. I should have known that. Should have been working it on an airplane stand, but live and learn. So hopefully everything goes better with Draco 2. I think I only got about 3 flights before I accidentally hit reverse on Draco 1 when I meant to take the flaps off. Because of that accident, I changed where my flaps are, and or not where my flaps are, I changed where reverse is. I put it on the other side of the controller away from everything. All right, we got just a light breeze, but let's give this a go. So we'll just do a quick check of control surfaces. Push the stick this way, that aileron goes up. Push it the other way, that one goes up. You have your rudder, right, left, elevator, up and down, flaps, landing flaps, flaps up, and throttle, and reverse. wind is headed that way, so we're going to do a takeoff that way.
Safe mode.
We are going to throw it into safe mode and 100% right.
Receiver, no data. Motor on.
We're going to try this forward.
Motors armed.
A little bit of a, see, it wants to go a little bit to the left, so we're going to correct to the right. Bring it back around. Get it trimmed up here.
Receiver, no data.
Pretty trim now when I'm in safe mode. I'm going to head into the wind, get a little altitude, and then take it out of safe mode, see what it does. Out of safe mode now.
Manual mode, low rates.
That could be the wind throwing it around there. I'll go back into safe mode.
Safe mode, high rates.
We'll bring her down where we can see it. Right now I'm showing 3.9 volts, so I'm gonna do a couple quick passes here into the wind. I gotta use the runway to the short way, just because of the way the wind's going here.
Receiver, no data.
Definitely. We're doing okay. I'm gonna give a little more correction to the right and give her a little more up elevator for that landing. She wants to come down pretty hard. We'll try that again. She just floats. Not quite. One more time here. Figure out why that receiver no data keeps on saying that. That's annoying. She just floats in safe mode. We're going to try one more time here. I think we're just going to do the full length of the runway. The wind's kind of died down at this moment, so we should be okay.
safe mode, it just glides and glides and glides, which isn't a bad thing.
Receiver, no data.
So reverse definitely helped us there. Well, you can't get much more successful than that for your first maiden flight. Really excited to fly some more. I got one more battery and we'll have one more go at it. Pulling up, so that doesn't help the nerves at all. I'm having to land the widthways of the yard instead of lengthways like normal. Battery pack for some reason lasts a lot longer. Telemetry. Last one by now I was already dead pretty much. Rising there, and I'm hardly touching the throttle. My landing is a little bit rough, but I think the gear handles it quite well. battery all the way right up to the front. Just show you that.
4,000, not 400.
It's only the 400 pack. So I have it slammed right to the front there, about as close as I can possibly get it. And that seems to fly really nice.